listening to CLNS Media, powered by betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/roll. Use our promo code CLNS50 for 50% off your first deposit.
Back with another episode of the Causeway Street Podcast. I am Josue Pavone, alongside Sean Ducha, Joel Pavone. What up? Oh, look at that.
Oh, did you just harmonize, bro?
Yeah, we didn't even plan that out. Well done, fellas. Well done. Me. All right. You guys getting carried away here. All right. Gentlemen, we got the Brooklyn Nets all of a sudden have enough cap space for not one, but two max free agents. So, we got Zach Peloquin on the line. He's going to try to break things down here. He'll be joining us in a few minutes. CauseWayStreet.com's own Zach Peloquin breaking down what the Brooklyn Nets did Thursday night and what it means for the Boston Celtics and, of course, Kyrie Irving. We also have what Danny Ainge had to say about not only Kyrie Irving, but what the Celtics plan to do moving forward. And, of course, according to reports, it has a lot to do with Anthony Davis. That is the prime target for this Celtics organization. What does that mean for the future? What does that mean for what the Celtics are going to give up? We break it all down with Zach Peloquin.
A lot going on.
So what do you guys make of this? Is there an actual realistic possibility that Kyrie Irving will go to the Brooklyn Nets? And better question, who's going to go with him? Because in my opinion, if Kyrie Irving's going to the Brooklyn Nets, there's got to be another top-tier guy waiting for him. And if it's not Kevin Durant, then who is it? Or is Kevin Durant actually going to go to the Brooklyn Nets and start things up again? Or is he going to go to the Brooklyn Nets and start things with Kyrie Irving? What do you guys think?
I don't know. But I know that Kyrie's not signing with the Celtics, and Brooklyn's probably the place that he'll try to get everyone to go to. I don't think that Kyrie has enough pull to get a Kevin Durant type of guy to just come where he wants to go. I think at the end of the day, Kyrie can say he wants to go to Brooklyn, but he's going to go wherever Kevin Durant goes, right?
So if he goes to New York, that's still a possibility.
He's going Kyrie will fall.
So if Kevin Durant says, you know what, we're going to the Knicks, he's going to go.
Yeah. Yep.
I can see that.
100%. But like Kyrie would be like, wait, what about Brooklyn? Brooklyn be cool. They're going to be like, nah, man.
You know what? I'm with you too. I think Kyrie's out.
Yeah.
I think he's out of Boston. I really do. I don't know if Brooklyn Nets is going to be the squad, but I think either way, he's probably out. But of course, Danny Ainge doesn't believe that. Of course, that's what he's saying. Joel, what do you fall in this conversation?
I'm over it. I'm over the whole fucking thing. Because
what happened, man?
No, because
you believed. You believed that he's going to come back to Boston.
It's one thing.
You all right, bro?
It's one thing if you just keep hearing Stephen A. Yell and say that he's talked to a friend of a friend, and the cousin and the baby moms of someone that knows Kyrie.
Hey, the baby mamas of cousins is always
the mamas.
It's reliable.
Okay,
reliable source.
So it's one thing if you keep hearing him say that, and he obviously covers his ass by saying it's 95% done that Kyrie and Durant are going to New York. Because obviously he gives them some fucking wiggle room to be like, well, actually, I just received texts saying that Kyrie wants to go to Brooklyn now, but Kevin Durant doesn't want to go to Brooklyn. So who knows? Whatever. I mean, obviously, when you hear someone like Woj come out and say that Kyrie is serious about going to Brooklyn, then your ears start to perk up a little bit. At least in my case. But I don't know.
Yeah, man.
It's a few weeks away. This could all be just Kyrie being Kyrie and just fucking around with everyone.
By the way, you know what the most fucked up part is about this whole thing, right?
Well, if he goes to Brooklyn, the whole full circle shit.
Yeah, no, well, the full circle thing.
Yeah, can we get into that?
We can, but
can you imagine?
I also
like
think
the one pick that Celtics took from Brooklyn was a part of Kyrie coming to Boston and now Brooklyn can laugh at fucking Boston's face and say, "Oh well, it took 6 years, but
it's a stretch."
Whatever, I'm over it.
Brooklyn wins, I think. Well, I shouldn't say that. Depending on what happens with Jaylen Brown,
don't
poker off somewhere is like,
yo, I immediately retracted.
Broke her off.
I immediately retracted that statement with
it's like I knew it
with the notion that
It's like, thank you, Paul
Jason
Pierce.
Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to blossom,
And
whether it's
that-
in here or whether they're part of a deal for a bigger piece.
Nah, man.
Because I feel like
Wait 3 to 5 years
Here's
before
my-
we talk about that.
here's the weird part. No, two.
Okay.
1 to 2.
They'll be a cute team.
Here, shut up, man. They're not gonna be a cute team. They're gonna be a great fucking team. They're gonna be better than the team was this year.
Yeah, they'll be Giannis, sure.
All right, I'm gonna stay on topic here, even though you guys are trying to pull me off topic. Kyrie going to the Nets is weird because the Nets technically is the best situation, right?
For Kyrie?
No,
Oh.
For Brooklyn.
talent wise, they can afford
For
a big free
the
agent.
Barclays Center, yes.
No, talent wise, right? Brooklyn,
For the guy on your T-shirt.
scrappy team, scrappy young
he's got a
team,
Biggie
some-
shirt on,
a
by
lot
the
of young talent, right?
Uh-huh.
What were the Celtics when Kyrie came to the team?
An Isaiah Thomas led team that probably would
Isaiah
not made
Thomas
to no, but before I'm saying
No, when Kyrie came to the team,
when Kyrie came to the team, they were a young team with a good core that battled deep into the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, the Eastern Conference playoffs,
okay,
but couldn't get over the hump, and they probably weren't going to.
yeah, which I get. I'm just saying, Kyrie's basically entering the Celtics situation like 3 years ago. He's basically just saying, I was with the Celtics who have made it farther, and now I'm going to go to Brooklyn.
Hold on, except the Brooklyn doesn't have any. They don't have. I mean, other than
Be
I
careful
mean,
with what you say, man.
no, they don't have. They don't have a legit all-star like that's made multiple all-star teams. I mean,
Right.
at least the Celtics when Kyrie came
They had
had
Al.
Al Horford.
Yeah.
They just signed Gordon Hayward, who was still an all-star at
Yeah,
that
see,
time.
that's my thing. If there's not another top-tier free agent heading to Brooklyn, is this really the best move for Kyrie
and
Irving?
your boy
Brad
Or
Stevens-
better
your boy
question
Brad
is,
Stevens.
He doesn't
or better
do it with
question,
young
does he
people.
actually do it? Does he actually go if there isn't a second person waiting there for him?
I think at the end of the day, if Kevin Durant doesn't team up with Kyrie, he's going to LA. I think that's plan
going
B.
to LA.
I think that's plan B.
No.
Like,
Now you sound worse than Stephen A. Smith.
No,
That'd be the biggest bitch move I've seen in quite some time.
Trust me, and I don't put it past Kyrie because he's the biggest bitch that I've ever heard as a Celtic.
His best chance to win with a superstar is in Boston because
vicious.
then Danny Ainge is going to go all out to get Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but
We know this.
I just think that
They're aggressively going to pursue him, whether Kyrie
he's
walks or not.
Kyrie is like Edgar Renteria.
I'll bite.
He's not going to work in Boston. He can work in other places, and he can be a NBA Finals MVP, just like Edgar Renteria on the Marlins
but he
and the Cardinals was the World Series MVP. He can't play in Boston. He can't deal with it.
It can work. It's going to be worse if he goes to fucking New York. Media
If he
wise,
goes,
if that's what you're saying. If
he
that's what you're
goes-
trying to say.
No, but it won't because it'll be second fiddle. Like if
Brooklyn.
if Durant he'll only go to Brooklyn if Durant goes there. If Durant's not coming out here, if Durant signs with the Warriors, he's going to LA. I think that's my opinion.
Well, if the Warriors don't win this, he's staying in Golden State because it's an excuse for him for Durant to say, "Well, they couldn't do it without me, so I'm sticking around for at least another year." So then what? When Durant decides to stay in Golden State, he's still going to Brooklyn? Kyrie Irving?
No, he's going to LA.
He's not going to LA. No one's going to LA.
Kyrie will.
The Clippers. There's the Clippers.
If
but
Kyrie can't play with Durant, he'll go back and play with LeBron.
Well, according to Stephen A. Smith, if the Warriors do lose the NBA Finals, he's willing to stick around. If they win, he's on his way out. According to Stephen A., that's what he's hearing right now. But of course, we're still weeks away from NBA free agency, so anything can change. Like I think people overlook the fact that these things sort of come together not last minute, but within a couple of days before the guy actually makes a decision. Like whether we're talking when Kevin Durant decided to go to the Warriors, or whether we're talking about other free agents in the past that have made mind-blowing decisions. I don't think these decisions are calculated weeks beforehand. I think when it comes down to it, 48 hours, 72 tops, like that's when they really start seriously considering where they want to go. But maybe I'm wrong with this one. We're talking about Kyrie Irving here. This is a whole different
seriously,
free agent we're talking about here. So this is a situation where maybe he does want to go to Brooklyn. Maybe it is predicated on if Kevin Durant's going to be there. If not, maybe if the Celtics do trade for Anthony Davis, maybe that's enough for him to stick around and stay with the Celtics. I mean, there's just so many maybes and so many ifs when it comes to someone like Kyrie that nothing would surprise me at this point. 3 weeks away from free agency when he has to make that decision.
Yeah, July will be crazy.
June 30th.
June 30th, bro.
Come on, man.
Pay attention.
Fucking read an article, bro.
Wait, it's not July 1st no more?
No.
June 30th,
June 30th,
6 p.m.
6 p.m., bro.
Eastern Standard Time.
Well, no one's going to sign on June 30th.
No, but the teams can start talking to free agents at that
Yo,
time.
are you
I thought
kidding
they
me?
I thought a week in
By
advance,
midnight,
no?
motherfuckers will be signed. Absolutely. You know what that is? That's a good look for us.
Does the NBA have
for the
a
media,
no,
for
but
us,
how many times-
that we don't have to stay up to 2 a.m. and hear reports. We're gonna know beforehand.
We'll see.
You'll start hearing it by that afternoon. That reports say in the next few hours, so and so is gonna already have an agreement to sign whatever.
Right.
That's what's gonna happen.
All right, let's get to our guest. I say he was waiting around, so let's get right to him. He wants to get plenty off his chest. His name is Zach Peloquin of CausewayStreet.com, and he joins us right now. What's going on, Zach? How are we doing?
Not too much, gentlemen. Not too much. Just enjoying the early parts of the summer, getting ready for the NBA draft. How about yourselves?
Yeah, man, same. You know, got the NBA Finals going on. We got plenty of free
Really?
agency rumors going on.
Said really?
What do you mean, really, man? We got a series here, man. Don't sleep on Toronto.
It's
Are you sleep on Toronto?
It's been 14 days since the last game, so it's just I forgot that it was still finals going
Oh
on.
man, Zach's in full Celtics mode. There you
They
go.
just called it off.
Well, you know what, Zach? If you're in full Celtics mode still, give us the lowdown. What's going on here? We got this these rumors swirling around with the Brooklyn Nets and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving's in New York, walking the streets, enjoying himself.
Talking about crossing guards.
He went to
and shit.
Madison Square Garden. You know, he caught the fight at Madison Square Garden and MSG. Now we're hearing that he's legitimately interested in joining the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets making cap space to not only bring in one max guy, but to bring in two. Where do you fall in this conversation? Could we actually see Kyrie Irving in a Brooklyn Nets uniform next season?
He was at a fish concert and shit. Yeah.
Fish concert.
So
he would be a Fish fan. I wouldn't be surprised.
fish, Jesus. So here's my thing.
Oh, by the way, real quick,
Yes.
I can see him as the guy who like doesn't partake in the smoking, but just enjoys the actual show. Like he would be that kind of Fish fan. I can see that. But go ahead, Zach.
Sure.
content.
I can see where you're coming from. I get that. So my feeling on this actually changed within the last 24 hours.
Oh.
Right? So I heard, all these reports coming out, yeah, he's looking at Brooklyn. I mean, Stephen A. Smith came out and said he thinks it's Brooklyn. He thinks he's going to be going back to New York, back home. We see the Instagram post, and it all seems to kind of align that he is looking to go back into that area and go back home, quote unquote, to where he grew up. And I started thinking about it. So another report that Boston is still very much engaged on Anthony Davis. I'm sitting here saying to myself, you know what? That's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that we'd still be looking at Anthony Davis, a one-year rental, and still be going after him, and all these reports that they're so engaged on trying to go after Anthony Davis. Why would you do that? Why would you risk the future of your franchise to go after this guy on a one-year deal with no guarantee that he's going to resign in Boston? My thought, maybe, just maybe, we have a little bit of a dance going on here. Is it possible, and I'm going to throw this back to you guys, is it possible that potentially Danny Ainge and Kyrie Irving are doing a little dance here because Kyrie Irving wants to see Danny Ainge make the first move before he makes any decision on anything about his future? Does he want to force the hand of Danny Ainge to make a move to get that veteran player that he has talked about in the past, kind of through certain channels, and go get Anthony Davis and make sure that that player that he wants to play with is on the Celtics for next year before he re-signs? Is that a possibility? Things that make you go,
I hate you guys.
Yeah, I'm rubbing my chin hair.
That would be a Kyrie Irving thing to do. So I'm going to say yes. That's a strong
Exactly.
possibility.
And I do think that Danny would do whatever he can to keep Kyrie.
Right. And of course, keeping his cool at the same time. I mean, he spoke
Yep.
Of
a few
course.
days ago about how he says he made it seem like he's not worried whatsoever about Kyrie Irving's future in Boston. He said he hasn't indicated anything to him about leaving Boston. They're still in communication. So, yeah, I can absolutely see that. And I can actually see Kyrie Irving wanting the Celtics to make that move first, just to see if they're actually invested and giving him something that he wants. So yeah, definitely.
But you know what? Even if this is true,
fuck that.
Kyrie.
I knew it.
Seriously,
Fucking knew it.
Right on cue, bro. Right on cue.
Hey, I need you to do this for me.
No, but he's not. He won't.
I need
He
you
won't
to-
say it. But like, yeah.
If that's what you got to do for Kyrie, you got to give up Tatum and
Smart.
make him happy. No, get them.
Yeah, but are you really surprised at this point, Sean?
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, this is Kyrie Irving talking about. This is a guy who has to, if he's going to commit long term here, he obviously going to have
Now, granted,
demands or wishes.
if Kyrie and Anthony Davis commit long term, you're in a pretty good spot. Like that's pretty good.
That's
right?
the best case scenario.
Yeah, it's just damn. Man.
I know it's not Sean's plan, but it's the best case scenario.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it's like a 0.00007% chance.
Zach, is there any chance that Anthony Davis would commit long term, sort of like what we saw with Kevin Garnett? You know, immediately after the deal, he loaded up and committed to this organization. Is that something that could actually happen? And all of a sudden, we have a foundation in terms of seeing Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and the rest of this squad committed for at least a 3 to 4 year window to go and grab a championship?
Immediately after, I don't think so. I mean, fiscally, it just doesn't make sense in terms of the extension that you're going to be looking at. I can't imagine that Davis would say, "Yeah, I'm going to re-sign to a such and such extension," right after he's traded to Boston. However, if you trade for him, would he re-sign at the end of this year? I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. I mean, you have to think. I mean,
This is
when
with
he
Kyrie,
comes in
right?
Here,
You're saying
I'm sorry.
in this scenario, you're saying if Kyrie stays, correct?
Either way for that matter. Because I mean,
Okay.
you think about it. If they decide to go make this deal, and they can still have a lot of the quote unquote core that they have with that team right now in place, I mean, that's still a very good team in the Eastern Conference. That's still a team that should contend as a top 3 seed, in my opinion, with Anthony Davis on that team going forward. So if that is what you're looking at, a team that's going to be a top 3 seed in the East, it's going to be successful. You have a legitimate shot at getting it at the bare minimum to your Eastern Conference Finals. If not, maybe even an outside shot at being a team that gets to the finals a year from now, depending on what happens with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto and obviously this offseason. But, I mean, a year from now, you're telling me that Anthony Davis, who's going to come to a city that's going to absolutely adore him, that's going to probably give him the most successful season of his career, and is going to literally make him the star of this franchise, one of the most storied franchises in all of sports, not just basketball, all of sports. He's going to look at that and say, "Nah, I'm out of here."
I'm good.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
crowd's too much for me, man. You guys get way too into it
too much.
compared to New Orleans.
Too much cheering. I need something quieter. I'm going to go to Atlanta. It doesn't make any sense. And my thought on top of that is that he kind of reminds me, personality-wise anyway, a lot like Al Horford. In a way, a lot like Al Horford.
Really?
A lot like I do. I
can see that.
I think that because
I can see that.
you're talking a guy who's
He's a quiet
little bit,
dude. Yeah.
Exactly. He's a little quiet. I mean, his dad did all the talking for him this year. Let's be honest about that. His dad and his agent
And
did
his t-shirts.
all of the talking about him. And in that, I mean, I think you're kind of looking at what Horford, is in his own right. I mean, Horford is a stand-up guy, good dude. And I mean, as far as we know, Anthony Davis is the same thing. You put those two guys in the same locker room next year, there's going to be a lot of conversation between the two. I think there's a lot of similarities. So my feeling is that locker room, on top of all the other benefits of being in Boston, as an NBA player, I don't know. I mean, I really can't see where he would just turn that down and say, "Nah, I don't really care for this. I want to go back to, Lord knows what city, who maybe people actually show up to the games, maybe they don't." That's something that kind of draws you in. And it'll be the first time in his career he'd actually see that. So I do feel pretty confident that if they made a deal for Davis, they could actually get him to re-sign in one capacity or another, with or without Kyrie Irving on the Celtics team next year.
All right. I don't know if you've heard of Sean's plan. I think it's been trending for the last couple of weeks.
Has it?
Yes.
It has. Twitter trend?
Yeah.
Sean's plan.
Yeah, it's been trending.
You see the
Big
hashtag?
time. Use the hashtag.
Hashtag Sean's plan.
So my question to you is, forget the reports, forget the rumors, and in Zach's world, what's your plan? What would you like to see happen going forward?
What would I like to see happen? Wow, that is a scary question. I mean, if it was up to me, I would already have Paul George and Jimmy Butler on the team right now. But and DeMarcus Cousins, me and Sean aligned with that for about 2.5 years.
There we go.
That's one thing you guys agreed on.
X Factor, Boogie Cousins.
Yes.
He could be in Sean's plan.
You're making room? Okay.
Free agent signing? Yeah.
All right, be a bonus.
Maybe he'll sign for $5 million again.
You never know.
Yes,
I mean, he hasn't done anything to really get a max deal, so I mean,
he ain't gonna get a max deal.
He's definitely not getting a max.
You can sign him for $13 million a year. That's a steal.
Bingo. I'm in for that one. No, I mean, in reality, I mean, you look at Boston's roster right now. I think the obvious cornerstones that you're going to start with anyway are going to be Gordon Hayward. I don't think you're going to see him move on. You're talking about a max deal there, so that's already occupying how much of your realistic cap space. And I have a hard time believing that Al Horford's going to walk away from $30 million a year too. So assuming that those are your cornerstones to start with, that those are immovable pieces on the 2019-2020 Celtics team, for me, I really look at Anthony Davis and I say, you know what? If you want to get your quote unquote alpha, your top 5, top 10 NBA talent in the door, that's the guy to go after. If the deal is right, if the price is right, if you will, for Anthony Davis, and you're not trading away every draft pick you have for the next 3 years, plus every young player that you have on the entire roster, I don't see why going after Anthony Davis wouldn't be the right move to go after. I mean, it's a risk, absolutely, but you put Anthony Davis in play, and then you're talking about a setup of basically at that point, assuming you trade away Jason Tatum to get Anthony Davis, you're talking about a starting 5 that goes something along the lines of Al Horford, Anthony Davis, Gordon Hayward, hopefully, depending on what that trade looks like for Davis, Jaylen Brown, and then you're trying to figure out your point guard position at that point, plus whatever's remaining on your bench. At that point, I mean, I think you're as good as any team in the East. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, you've got Anthony Davis, who I think matches up with any player in the East, from your 3 down to your 5. So you're talking the Giannis's of the Eastern Conference, maybe even potentially matching up against a Kawhi Leonard if he sticks in Toronto. But he gives you that defensive presence as well as the ability to give you 25 a night. You got Al Horford, who we know is the consummate team player who's willing to do whatever it is that Al's looking, or whatever it is that Brad's looking for. And being able to run that screen and roll and be another great option both offensively and defensively. Gordon Hayward, who I think is going to be miles ahead of what we saw this past year because of the fact that he is going to be another year removed from that surgery, another year removed from the injury that he had. And then, I mean, at that point, you're talking about your backcourt. Is Kyrie Irving resigning in Boston? If that's the case, then you're talking Kyrie Irving and potentially Jaylen Brown in your backcourt. That starting 5 to me is on par or better than anything in potentially the entire NBA. So, if I'm Danny Ainge and I have the perfect scenario, I mean, that's what I'm trying to go for at this point, is trying to get something like that as your starting 5. At that point, the bench you can kind of piece together, similar to what you've seen in Golden State, what you've seen in Houston, what you've seen, in all these trending finals contenders over the last couple of years, that you look for the veteran minimums, you look for the easy trades to be able to pull players in, and then also being able to work with whatever you have remaining in the draft. So for me, that's the ideal situation, is that you're able to walk away with Kyrie Irving saying, you know what, you went and got Anthony Davis for me, I'm here, I'll do this. And then, you've got Anthony Davis and the risk that comes along with that. But again, this is the ideal situation that I'm looking at. So we'll see. We'll see on all that.
So Zach is willing to trade Jason Tatum. Okay. All right.
Yes, absolutely.
It sounds like Zach is also willing to do like crystal meth or something right now, man. Seems like the most.
I didn't pick up on that.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Seems like the most far-fetched thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
I mean, even Jason Tatum is willing to trade himself for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I think it's past. Okay, let me give you a little snippet of Sean's plan. It's basically everything you said, just subtract Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis. Sean's plan. Because Gordon
Perfect.
Hayward is
Basically
going to
the
be
same thing.
a much better player next year. Tatum will be a much better player next year.
See, there's one thing you might not
keep-
know, Zach. Sean wants to see a nice, cute little Celtics team that bows down
I don't
in the
want to
second
see a
round.
cute little Celtics
They're
team.
exciting
Overachievers.
to watch, and they
Nope.
they pull up these upset games, but then at the end they just fall to the Milwaukee Bucks.
I truly
in
believe.
the second round
I
again.
truly believe.
That's what he wants to see.
So the let's see if you guys have been paying attention. What's the number one factor in Sean's plan?
Brad Stevens.
Brad Stevens. It's Brad Stevens, baby.
Year
Marcus
8.
Smart.
Year 8 of Brad Stevens, by the way.
you
Look how
gotta
excited
do,
Joel wanted to say that.
all you gotta do is just give Brad Stevens his team.
Year
so
8, by the
if
way.
you give him his boy Tatum, who's going to be definitely an all-star next year. You keep Jaylen Brown, you keep Marcus
Could've swore
Smart,
you said that
you
last
keep Gordon Hayward, you keep Al Horford, and then you build and you re-sign Terry Rozier as your point guard. That's your squad, and that squad to me. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Zach. And obviously, like,
Yeah, why don't you bring Isaiah Thomas back?
you can get
Jay Crowder. Why don't you bring the whole
Fine.
game?
I know. I do think you should bring Jay Crowder back.
Avery Bradley.
I already said this, but DeMarcus Cousins too. Bring him over.
Bring the whole crew.
But I'm just saying, like,
Bring him
to
over.
me, that if you go, see, I think it's too big of a risk. Kyrie and Brad Stevens can't coexist on a team. I think we found that out. I also don't think that if you bring in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, you got a 3-year window that you went all in on that you need to win. And I think if you go the other route and you build around your coach who can age and not matter, right? You build around Gordon Hayward, who's going to be better, Jason Tatum, who's going to make leaps and jumps, and he's going to make the 3rd-year jump, which in the 3rd year, that's when these players start to be an all-star and like legitimate MVP candidates.
And who else? Say it.
And Jalen Brown.
What?
Is
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Jalen Brown will be a solid player on this team.
I
All right,
remember
all right.
the day that
Well, I
Sean
like that clip.
said that I'm willing to. He said, "I am willing to say that I have some respect for Jaylen Brown." You guys remember that?
Yeah, he's been saying it recently, actually.
Wait,
Yeah.
what was? I know what Zach's talking about. Do you remember the play? Do you remember the play?
Only the last
I
couple of
remember
episodes.
the play.
the play?
The day that
when he
said
jumped
that.
up. When he
butt
jumped up,
rebound.
yeah, the butt rebound.
butt
Butt
rebound.
rebound. Yeah.
That did it for you, huh?
No, that did it for me. But then the offseason happened, and then Jalen Brown was still on the team. and I was
Catapulted.
like,
His
this
ass
motherfucker's
catapulted into the air. I remember that. yeah.
No,
The
but-
booty rebound. The booty bound.
the brown booty bound.
The brown booty bound. He was like, you know what? All right, he's all right. He's all right.
Yeah,
He's
but,
all right in my book.
But in my opinion, the biggest problem with this team last year wasn't the talent on the team. Obviously, there was too many mouths to feed, and I had said that
Yeah.
from day one, and that's why I said the most expendable mouths to feed was Jaylen Brown. Now you kept him around. I'm okay with him being around now, but now Kyrie's gone. Just let it go. Don't try to do anything for Kyrie, because if you do trade, see, I at the end of the day, I don't think that Jason Tatum's going to get it done for Anthony Davis.
But
I
what
think
if
it's
he
gonna be
says
Brown
he
and
wants to
Tatum.
come back? What's Danny going to say? No, Kyrie, we're good.
No, he's not. But he's not going to say that. I just don't think he's going to say that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm with you, Sean. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would bet that Kyrie's out of the picture. But I just don't think that makes a difference of what Danny Ainge wants to do and bringing in another all-star talent like Anthony Davis. Like, he's trying to do this now. Like, the last 5-6 years, he's been trying to put together a superstar team, which is what Danny does. He's done it before. He wants to do it again. He did this rebuild so quickly, quicker than anyone anticipated.
No one thought that
And
that was
he's
going to happen.
not doing all this just to line up a bunch of young guys and watch them blossom. He wants to put superstar talent to couple with these young guys. It didn't work out this past season. He still wants to give it another go.
When did the rebuild start?
The day they traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
That was what, 2013?
Yes.
Okay. So
I know, right?
It's
Yo, I know exactly what that noise
2019.
meant from Zach.
It's not. We haven't won a championship. He hasn't done anything faster than anyone else. Now,
What are you talking
hold on.
about?
Let's hear me out. Hear me out.
You went to the Eastern Conference Finals 3
Hear me out.
times.
Yes, I understand that.
Two
I understand
times,
that.
excuse me.
But this was the squad that needed to win it to make it so that we rebuilt and we won a championship faster than anybody after you trade all your starters. Now he put himself in a position to say, I can win now and I can win later. If he doubles down on the winning now by trading his young core for Anthony Davis and re-signing Kyrie, then This is it. Like, but if he just
the same way Toronto's doing
if
it
he
right
lets
now.
it play out, if he lets it play out, you can re-sign Tatum, you can re-sign Brown if you decide to. I don't know if they will, but you also can bring free agents in to work with his core. You have Hayward here for another 2 years. You can have a lot of flexibility to make this team.
I think that's a bigger risk though.
But I don't see how it's a risk because
I think it's a bigger risk because if they don't win in year 5,
But
then what are you going to say?
But hold on.
Man, they should have really brought Anthony Davis and fucking signed Kyrie Irving.
But wait, you don't think that, let's say Anthony Davis does get traded to, I don't know, let's say whatever team, right? Let's say he gets traded to the Nets. You can still trade Jason Tatum for a superstar anytime you want. It
So
doesn't
then what
have to be
superstar are
Anthony
you
Davis.
talking about?
No, I'm saying you can get more out of Tatum and see what, because right now,
Yeah, but
are you?
I don't
hold on,
see.
hold on.
I don't
Can
see
you,
that.
Can you
I don't
tell
see that
me?
superstar being better than Anthony Davis.
Can you
I
tell me
don't.
100%?
That's my thing.
Well, LeBron. You could trade for LeBron. You never know.
Oh yeah, because you would love a 35-year-old LeBron.
Yeah, 36, 37-year-old at that point.
That'll make your fucking
what
toes
about-
tingle.
what-
You would be fucking furious. You'd be the first guy complaining.
I'd be pissed off, but I'm just saying.
So why'd you say
But
that?
also James Harden.
So why'd you bring
James
it up?
Harden. I mean, maybe James Harden is available. Maybe Russell Westbrook will be
Because
available
James Harden would work so well with your coach,
in
right?
a couple of years. All I'm saying is, you want a top tier
You're
player.
gross. Get out of here.
You want a top tier player.
Disgusting.
You may have one already. Are you guys going to tell me you're 100% sold that Jason Tatum in 3 to 4 years won't be a top 10 player in the NBA?
That's not a guarantee.
The jury's still out.
Yeah.
Can you tell me no?
Yes, I can.
You're going to say no. There's zero chance he's going to be a top 10
I'm not
player.
gonna say
in the NBA.
zero
you can't say
chance,
that.
but if I had to bet on it, I would say no. 3 to 4 years, top 10 player. Like think about
After
that.
2
Think about
years
that.
in the league.
The
After
10 best players in the NBA, you think he'll be one of them?
So then, in your plan, how many years do the Celtics are they going to be able to contend for a championship? Realistically,
I think you just play. You don't have to panic. That's the whole point of my plan. You don't have to panic right now.
don't think
If
this is a panic
Kyrie
move,
walks,
though.
you're still fine. You still have Tatum. You still have Brown. You still have draft picks. If you do want to trade for a guy who doesn't have one motherfucking year left on his contract, then you can do it. But if you trade for Anthony Davis and then he walks, you are absolutely fucked. If that happens, do you remember who was the guest that we had? Christian Arcand. Remember when he said the worst case scenario?
Oh, yeah, doomsday.
Is Kyrie walks, you trade Tatum and Brown for Anthony Davis. He walks, you're sitting there with the last year of his contract, Gordon Hayward. You're probably going to trade him that year. And then you're sitting there with fucking Gabashan, Yabusele just being Jared Sullinger. And then guess what? We're signing people like Phil Pressey, and Sway's getting a hard on for Phil Pressey again.
how is he making this podcast for the second straight week? By the way, anyway,
I'm just saying it's too much of a risk.
all right. So let me ask you
good
this.
right now.
All right, let me ask you this. With Sean's plan, right? Because you still haven't given me a timeline of when they will become like
A championship
championship contender. Okay, why?
And don't say some superstar down the road.
Yeah. Because
Give me
why?
someone.
Answer me this. Why is Anthony Davis available right now?
Because the Pelicans suck.
Well, other than that, because he's on the last year of his deal, right?
Well,
He demanded a trade
Yep.
with 2 years technically left on his deal.
Yep.
Okay, so superstars are not going to be demanding a trade, or teams are going to want to trade their superstar in like the second or third year of their contract of a max deal, just say per se. The opportunity for the Celtics to grab a top 10, arguably top 5 player in the league doesn't happen all the time. And the Celtics have the opportunity to not only bring back one, but trade for another. And you give yourself a bigger chance to not only come out of the East, but actually win the championship. Like, think about it right now. And I know it sucks to look at what's the current situation. The Celtics could have been in the finals against a Kevin Durant-less Warriors,
But they aren't.
but they aren't. But with Anthony Davis, you think the Warriors are their dynasty is gonna keep going in year 6, 7?
Yeah.
Who else in the West can even challenge the Warriors right now? No one.
I hear you. I think if Kyrie was, and I know Zach's on the line, but
I know.
Yeah, man. We're
Zach,
being rude to our guests.
it's like
man.
you're in
I'm
studio,
itching to
man.
ask him a question
I can
right
tell
now.
Zach. I can tell Zach's in on this conversation. If if Kyrie could play in Boston, this would be a different conversation. I just don't think he can play in Boston.
I mean, he was able to play in Boston the first year.
So a year and a half is enough of a sample size for you. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but he has not played outside of one series. He hasn't played that bad. That's the problem with that, though.
Yeah,
I mean, we're judging him on one series against Milwaukee right now.
His worst is only one bad series of his career.
A year ago, when he got injured, we were talking about him in the same context that he could be an MVP candidate with the way that he played prior to the injury,
the 60 games,
prior to the knee issue, right before he went out last year. Like, let's not forget about that. Let's not play like that one series is all that Kyrie Irving is. I mean, yes, he was not the best locker room guy this year. Yes, he had an issue with what I'm going to consider Jason Tatum and his growth. He's going to have an issue with Jaylen Brown and his growth, and he definitely had an issue with Terry Rozier. Now, they went about it a very nice little way. They were like, yeah, no, it's not him, it's not me, it's not it's whatever. It's just the fact that we don't have enough basketball to go around. But at the end of the day, Kyrie Irving was not a bad basketball player for this Celtics team.
He was not a
leader for this team.
Yes,
he's not a leader for this team. I will fully give that up. But he was a very good player for this team, and he was, statistically speaking, I mean, he was as good as he's ever been. He was an all-star.
He had his best season this year. The
last 2 years, that's probably been the best of his career.
Exactly.
Yep, I agree. But his flaws outweighed his play, which is strange to see. Normally, like if he could have just
but Sean, you wouldn't have been saying that if he balled up in the playoffs.
If he could have just shut up,
even if they lost to the Bucks,
but he didn't ball
averaged
against
30
the playoffs.
points.
You already made your decision on Kyrie after 20 games this season, because you've been preaching this kind of Sean's plan or kind of a variation of it since November.
Yeah, but I give you this, Sean. I give you the fact that, of course, he didn't perform in the playoffs like you were questioning. And if he had performed, and let's say the Celtics still lost, I still think you would have put the blame on him.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Well, I probably
well,
you wouldn't be the only one.
You have to.
You wouldn't be the only one.
But that should be okay with Kyrie, and it's not, because if you're the best player on a team, this is the beauty of being the best player on a team. When things go great, you're the best in the world. When things go bad, it's on you. That's what happens when you are a superstar. Okay. And if he wants to be a superstar and he wants to be in Boston, being a superstar in Boston, guess what? The only person in Boston, there's two people in Boston that I just found out. I thought that was only one, but there's actually two that can suck and everyone will still have their back. It's Tom Brady and it's Patrice Bergeron. Those are the only two players in Boston that apparently can suck, and no one will talk shit about them. Because right now, Patrice Bergeron has sucked, and no one wants to say it. And it's been pissing me off, man. Somehow, Bergeron's on Brady level, where all of a sudden, Bergeron, why can't you just show up in the finals? Where have you been? We're down 3-2, and no one wants to say anything about Bergeron sucking and being invisible. He's basically Danton Heinen 2.0 out there, and we're trying to pretend that he's not.
So you can't get this kind of analyst other than Causeway.
Yeah. This episode of Big Bad Bruins is brought to you by.
All right, before we take this dark
on my chest. That's what on my chest.
Before we take this dark turn, let's redirect here.
Zach, turn it around, guys. Turn it around.
Zach,
Bussy Huey.
Yes, sir.
I'm just throwing this out here. Is there any chance the Celtics could? Not that I'm advocating for this, but could they potentially make a deal where they remove Gordon Hayward's salary from their cap? And bring somebody in. I mean, after seeing what the Brooklyn Nets did, and granted, I know Alan Krabby. I mean, was it close to $20 million? I know Gordon Hayward makes a little bit more. It's got a few more years left on his contract. But is there any chance that they could shave that contract off their cap
if you get rid of all the picks like the Nets did?
Gordon Hayward, yeah.
Why would you do that?
It's not part of Sean's plan. I know.
Look at Sean's plan right now. Sean's plan is.
Right, go ahead.
He's very, very.
Talk in the fantasy world. Go ahead, Zach.
He's very concerned right now. I'm just throwing it out there, Zach.
Like, what?
First thing I want to say, before I even get into that, is that I am not adverse to the Dutra plan. I'm just saying, if I had the ideal situation,
it's plan
I would
B,
go.
Right? I'm with you.
I'd go in my
B.
direction. Well, here's the
Sean's
thing.
plan is plan B.
I let you guys go because I didn't want to hop in. You had a nice thing going there, so I don't have any issue with the idea of going in a direction where it's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as really your core going forward. It's just my fear is that in the NBA, it's very difficult to add that number one alpha guy. Do you think Jason Tatum can lead you to an NBA championship? That's the question you have to answer.
Yeah,
You
don't. Sean hasn't answered it.
Yes.
If your answer is anything other than a definitive, absolutely yes, he can be Kobe Bryant in 2 to 3 years. If that is not your answer, and if you don't think he can absolutely do that, then going in that direction is the wrong way to go, because you need an alpha. And if you go in that direction, you cannot find another alpha.
You can't go back.
What that makeup is going to be. You're not going to, because you're not going to have the same assets that you have at this moment to be able to make a deal. Even if you want to trade Jason Tatum away, you're still not going to be able to get what you're about to get for him. I mean, his potential is at an all-time high. If you're going to deal Jason Tatum, it is this offseason. If you are going to roll with him as your number one guy, if he's going to be your ace, then that's fine. But you need to be sure that that's your guy going forward. And the same thing with Jaylen Brown is that you can't – is he a top 3 guy on an NBA championship squad? If you think that, then absolutely roll forward. I mean, you don't need to trade for Anthony Davis. You don't need to re-sign Kyrie Irving. You can create a third guy, but to sit back and say that you're going to find a way to be able to get a top 1 or 2, that's a little dicey. So that's my only fear with that way. I'm not saying it's the wrong way, but you have to make sure that you are very happy with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown going into next year. If that's the direction you want to go, those have to be the guys you're willing to roll with. And at that point, I mean, then we'll see where it goes.
Ride or die, baby. Ride or die.
Right. Then so be it.
You don't sound too convinced there, Zach. I don't know.
Here's the thing. We have not seen that level from those two guys yet. And Jaylen Brown, I mean, he's now finished year 3. He's going into year 4. You're about to have to give him a new contract. And that new contract, we're talking, it's not going to be 12 or 13 million a year. You're talking a guy who's going to be upwards of 15, 18, maybe even as much as $20 million a year on his next contract.
Yeah, but
these aren't small dollars.
You got the bird rights, though, right?
He'll be restricted regardless.
He'll be good. He'll be restricted. We'll be okay. He'll probably sign the qualifying offer. Like, even though if you're gonna sign him,
Sean's like pleading for his
like
life
no.
right
I'm just saying, like, Jaylen Brown isn't in any position to not sign a good qualifying offer.
This is how Dutra would talk to Danny Ainge.
You don't think he's going to have an offer sheet next summer that's going to be at least $16 million a year? Like, who in the NBA is going to be like, oh yeah, this super athletic guy who's scoring 15, 18 points a game, who's able to defend most wings, on any given night, 6'7", he's 22, 23 years old. Like, he's going to get 16, 18 million a year on an offer sheet.
I think if Kyrie walks,
yeah,
and you don't get Davis, then your number one priority is signing Jaylen Brown to an extension this summer.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Right? Because you want to get him before he gets to that restricted point. Because if once he gets to the restricted point, you're right. I mean, I hear you 100%. It's going to be a Clint Capella situation.
Or the Terry Rozier right now.
We'll see what happens with Terry Rozier, right?
He's going to walk. That's what's going to happen.
No, he's not.
All right, listeners, this episode of the Causeway Street Podcast is brought to you by betonline.ag. If you haven't already, head over to clnsmedia.com/causeway, enter the promo code CLNS50, and that'll give you a 50% cash back on your first deposit. That's right. So whatever you deposit, you get 50% of that deposit directly back to you. And right now, it is a great time to win yourself some money. Okay, we got the Stanley Cup final going on. We got the NBA finals going on. So we got plenty of action where you can win plenty of money, man. They got all kinds of ways for you to win money. You have the virtual casino, so there's plenty of action there for you to win. And because of betonline.ag, they're giving you pretty much free money to play with. So why miss out on this? Head over to clnsmedia.com/causeway. Enter the promo code CLNS50. You'll get 50% cash back on your first deposit when you bet online with betonline.ag. That's clnsmedia.com/causeway. Enter the promo code CLNS50. You'll get 50% back on your first deposit.
Yeah, man, I keep trying to tell everybody, easy money, just bet right, Bruins, Game 6, lock, 100%.
And it's on the road, so you already know the Bruins can obviously win, and you can win big money.
Be an underdog, and I think they'll be an underdog.
That's right. They'll be an underdog, which means you can win big money. Don't miss out. clnsmedia.com/causeway. Bet online with betonline.ag. Just make sure you enter the promo code CLNS50. That's CLNS50. Head over to clnsmedia.com/Causeway. All right, Zach. Let's get you out on this. All right, NBA Finals. I know you're not watching much of it from the way you were talking earlier.
Does KD come back at any point in the series in Game 5?
Yeah, where is KD? Have you seen him? Does he still play basketball? Is he just chilling? What's going on right now?
I haven't seen KD since the day he left Oklahoma City, to be honest.
Ooh. Shots fired somehow.
Yeah, I think right now KD is more worried about what Kyrie's doing than what Steph's doing right now, which is pretty pathetic.
I would have to second that. Thank you, Mr. Dutra.
Yep. Anybody else got any slow burns on KD over here? Come on, guys, join the party.
Nah, man, I'm all out. Got nothing.
I don't know. I just can't wait until he's a Knick, and then they just lose every game forever. That'd be cool.
Yeah, or Brooklyn Net.
It's not gonna happen.
You don't want to go to Brooklyn, man. KD said, "Nah, man."
Brooklyn.
All right. All of a sudden, the Toronto Raptors are 1 win away from winning the NBA Finals, heading back home, Game 5 in Toronto.
It was 6.
Are the Toronto Raptors actually going to pull this one off in Game 5? What do you think?
Honestly, I'm going to go with my main man, Lee Corso. They've got the big Mo on their side right now. They've got a lot of momentum. I really, really like what we've seen out of Kawhi Leonard. I really like what we've seen out of this Raptors team. I think you're seeing a lot of guys who, I mean, it's kind of that culmination of, the Marc Gasol, the Kyle Lowry. I mean, there's a lot of guys who have been so close, who have been in the playoffs, who have had these long extended careers where they've had a ton of success. And now's the opportunity for them to finally close on that finals. And then on top of all that, you have Kawhi Leonard, who has done it before, who has seen the best way to do it with his Spurs teams. I mean, it feels so right now. You're going home. Everything's in their direction. For me, I think you're going to see it finally done. I think you're finally going to see the Golden State Warriors broken apart. And I mean, if you would have guessed in the beginning of the year that the Toronto Raptors were going to be the team to knock Golden State off the pedestal, you'd think I was crazy. But it really does look that it's going to be that way in Game 5 here.
Nope, not crazy, Zach. I actually called this back in April, but just to toot my horn a little bit. But let me ask you this one, though. Here's a little follow-up. Will Drake drop a mixtape after they win it all? That's the
bonus.
That's the most important question right there.
He might be able to do that within 15 minutes after the finals ends.
Live recording? I can see him
Absolutely.
doing that. He'll stream it live.
Jurassic Park, he's just crowd surfing and shit.
No, it's going to be out of control. It is lit that
Toronto's going to burn to the ground that night.
I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. Toronto is I've never been there. I really don't give a shit about Toronto, but yeah, I think it's going to be pretty sweet.
I don't know where you were going with that.
Yeah, I thought you had a story about the city or something right there. You got me confused there.
Who fucking cares? It's Toronto. I would go to Toronto if you paid me. They suck balls.
Yo, Zach is strictly focused on the Celtics, man. Talk about a Celtics insider right here, Zach. Zach Peloquin of CauseWayStreet.com. Zach, of course, always fun talking with you, man. We'll catch up soon, man.
Absolutely. See you guys for the draft.
Hell yeah.
All right, later, brah.
Take it easy, man.
Yeah.
All right, it's about that time, fellas. Let's get into the way we wrap up every single episode here on the Causeway Street Podcast. Let's get into In Case You Missed It.
In case you missed it.
Joel, I know you got a lot of stuff in line right now because it's been a wacky week. I feel like that's just been the state of this NBA Finals. It's like literally a new story pretty much every single day, whether there's a game or not. There's something about this NBA Final Series that you can report on. So what do you got?
Paul Pierce, 11 years ago this week.
Oh, boy.
All right. If we all remember this is what they call it, but I don't like calling it this, but it's the wheelchair game, right? Game 1, 2008, NBA Finals. We all thought,
Great game.
Paul's done. It's a wrap. Get to the back. He, got taken out in a wheelchair, whatever. Well, apparently, I don't know if he was joking or not, but Paul says
He was definitely joking. What do you mean?
I don't know, man. He looked pretty fucking serious when he said it. He said it. He's like he confessed 11 years later because they were giving him shit about it because they always do because the wheelchair wasn't necessary and he was faking whatever. Apparently, he had to go take a shit because
A dookie?
he had to. Actually, no, he had to finish taking the shit because apparently he shit himself when he fell.
He had a case of the
Wait,
Rio.
what?
Yeah, he was saying that like
He said that?
he said that
He had a mud pie?
they had a mud pie.
There's a lot of
Or
things.
according to Jalen Rose, he went streaking in his shorts. So he said he had to
Good one, Jalen. Out
He
of
had
all
to,
the poop jokes, that's the one you go with.
change
Well,
his
us-
change his underwear, change his shorts.
Well, yeah, us massholes would be like,
You know what
free
I mean?
ball.
Like
that's what we
the
call it.
the wheelchair was because if he walked it would have been like running down. I don't know. So, but later on he said, no, the only shit I did in that game was on the Lakers.
Ooh, well played, Paul. But you know what? At the same time, though,
He
like,
brought it up.
why was that your joke? Exactly, you brought it up,
He
and like, why was that the joke?
I don't
Like,
know, man.
Okay,
Not all
this
things.
is my whole thing about Game 1 of the 2008 NBA Finals. Like, okay, maybe Paul milked it a bit. Well, first of all, he didn't ask for the wheelchair, but I think maybe he milked it a bit when he was grabbing.
Well, he
his
said something.
Ankle.
He heard
I mean,
something pop, whatever.
well,
His knee.
Yeah, he was grabbing his knee. He was sort of grimacing. Okay, maybe he milked it a little bit, but I don't think it takes away from the fact that Celtics fans have waited decades, literally decades, to see this team back in the NBA Finals. And the heroics, whatever you want to call it, coming back onto the floor, hitting back-to-back three-pointers, getting the crowd going. Like, that was just such a historic moment for Celtics fans because it was
Iconic
just like,
moment, really.
It was an iconic moment because it was like, okay, here the Celtics are in the NBA Finals. You think Paul Pierce is hurt. He comes back. He does what he had to do, his little Willis Reed moment. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, wait a minute, this other team is not only in the NBA Finals, but you know what? Man, they're going to bring it to the Lakers. And this is obviously what was the case. They won in 6 games. But that Game 1 just started everything for this NBA Finals that the Celtics obviously ultimately won. And I just think that moment in itself, just as years go by, just continues to get like buried in the sense of that it wasn't as great as it seemed at that moment because it's just little by little as time goes on. Like, it's the ongoing punchline for Paul Pierce at this point,
Well, I mean, I feel like, yeah, you're right. He kind of does it to himself. I know he's trying to he was cracking a joke, but now social media takes it to the next level, and it's more like, Paul, why did you take it there? But obviously he was joking. I thought, if he was serious, I mean, that's a good reason why to get taken out in a wheelchair because you don't want that coming out of your shorts.
Yo, if he had
Boston Marathon style.
this is-
Boston Marathon style, yeah.
So
Just running down your leg.
here's what I'll say. What color were we wearing that day?
White.
So if he shit his pants, we would have seen it. All right.
But like Big Baby or fucking Leon Paul, someone would have
Yeah.
freaking leaked
Yeah.
that out.
Oh, whoa.
Pun intended.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure.
All right, Joe, what else you got?
All right, in case you missed it, how weird is the fact that 2 instances where apparently now it wasn't just a fan or a season ticket holder, but a fucking a partial owner of the team who shoves Kyle Lowry for no reason, and he gets not only fined $500,000, but also got banned, and he had to relinquish his ownership, whatever percentage that he had owned of the Warriors.
Wait, what?
Yeah, and he got banned for a year.
So he's not a part owner
He's
anymore?
not a part owner anymore. He was probably like a little small, minority
Wow.
owner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, regardless, though, that's not, what he did doesn't warrant that. Are you
He
kidding
barely
me?
pushed him, and you think he was probably protecting his girl right there.
Nah, he wasn't protecting shit.
The Warriors,
That was
the Warriors
that was
needed
angst.
to set like an example because the Warriors we don't want be associated with shit like that. I think when it comes to the punishment,
yeah, but this is extreme.
I think the fine and him being banned for a year was fitting. Now the other stuff,
That's
I don't
fine.
know. I don't know about that, but it is what it is.
I think it's way too much. I mean,
I think Beyonce
you
should
lost
be
your
banned
part
for a year.
ownership. No, I don't think.
Well,
I don't
that's
agree with that.
Well, that was my next. That's the other situation, right? Where obviously no, there's no fines involved in that. No players involved in that. Jay-Z and Beyonce were at the game, and the woman was
Becky,
no, that's not Becky. She didn't have good hair.
the Becky with the good
It
hair.
was Becky.
well, I guess
Yo,
the
that was
Beyonce fans thought
No,
it was
no.
Becky.
That's the one that Jay was sleeping with. That's the one.
I don't know about that, but
No, that was Solange.
well, anyways, this is the wife. This is a wife of another.
It's terrible.
of another Warriors owner that was simply asking Jay if he wanted something to drink. Jay yelled out, I'll take a vodka soda. And she was like, wait, say that again.
Is that what he was doing the baby hands to? Like, what was that? He was waving very weirdly to someone across the court. Is that what you're talking about?
No. I'm talking about when Beyonce sitting in between Jay and this.
Yeah, I know that part.
Okay,
I'm
so
talking
what-
about like when he started waving to someone across the court.
No, that's different. He was
Oh.
talking to the reason why this female was kind of like leaning over to talk to Jay in between Beyonce. Beyonce's giving the chick the side eye or whatever. So that's what went viral. Like, oh, I remember even Greeny from Barstool was saying how Jay's in trouble because Beyonce didn't look comfortable and whatever. But come to find out, Beyonce fans are tweeting at this lady to the point where she was receiving death threats and she had to delete all of her social media.
It's such a force.
It's ridiculous.
Yo, the Bayhive is
Fuck
ridiculous,
Beyonce.
man. Yo, the Bayhive is
But
ridiculous.
Beyonce has nothing to do with it though. Like,
Yes, she does. She has everything to do with it. No, not her, but like
She
her
could call
fans.
it off.
And this, what do you mean call it off?
Beyonce could call it off.
Wait, hold on. Explain that to me. What do you
Beyonce
mean?
could say, "Hey guys, chill the fuck out." Has she done that? No, she's a fucking bitch. That's why.
So,
Oh,
but
shit.
yo,
Can't stand Beyonce.
But what do you mean call it off though? Like you think she just spends her time on Twitter?
you
Like
don't think she
talking
knows
to
what
her
the
fucking
fuck's
fans
going
and shit?
on?
Like
oh, what the fans don't pay her paychecks?
what do you mean though?
No one would like Beyonce if it wasn't for her fans.
I still don't see what your point is on this. What is she supposed
could
to say?
Call off the dogs.
Obviously, she's not. She doesn't approve of fucking violence or whatever threats. Or
Well,
whatever the case
apparently
may
her
be.
fans don't know that. But if she said something, maybe they'd be like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't be sending death fucking threats."
Well, I mean,
Idiots. I hate Beyonce and I hate her fans.
okay,
I guess she could have
fair, whatever. But articles like what Greeny wrote doesn't help the situation by fucking saying that this chick is flirting with fucking Jay-Z in front of Beyonce.
Guess what? When you got-
The funniest
When you
part
got
is
the
how
first-
uncomfortable Jay-Z looked the whole time.
Yeah,
That's
when
my
you
favorite part.
when you have your husband supposed to be the first billionaire in hip hop of all time.
It's supposed to be.
Which you're so upset about.
I
apparently.
don't believe it's true, but
All right.
I mean, supposed to be the first. Guess what? He's going to get hit on. So if you can't deal with that, maybe you shouldn't be with him. They should break the fuck up.
All right,
Sean just took it to a whole nother
seriously,
I'm telling you,
seriously.
man. If Beyonce can't deal with that shit, she needs to fucking find a new man.
I don't think it was that deep. I just think that she was
She
just
needs
sort
a
of waiting for her
Stedman.
to finish to
She
stop
needs a
talking.
Stedman,
I don't
bro.
think she was salty whatsoever about it. It just went viral and everybody got way too into it. That's what
And she
happened.
didn't.
all
And
it
she
is.
didn't stop him.
But all right,
She didn't say, "Hey, everybody in the stupid beehive,
oh, because she tweets right.
don't
It's not someone's not hired to do that.
don't give this person death threats, please." Then they would have been like, "Oh my god, she's such a peacemaker. She's gonna be the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my god, fucking
Unbelievable.
barely mediocre talented artist."
All right. In case you missed it, local Celtics writer Sherrod Blakely put out a piece, and the reason why I'm bringing this up because I want you guys' opinion on it real quick. On if Kyrie, if or when he walks, who would you guys prefer to take? Whatever.
Brad
Who would you-
Wanamaker.
Who would you prefer to have
Terry Rozier. I've told
take
you
over?
this.
Okay, but let me say the list because Terry is on the list.
Right.
All right, so Terry Rozier, Isaiah Thomas,
No.
Ricky Rubio, or Derrick Rose.
That's what?
I'm gonna tell you this. I wouldn't
Well,
want.
that's
I wouldn't
what their
want any
budget
of
looks
them.
like right now.
I wouldn't want
So-
any of them.
That's what the
I'm
budget looks
putting that
like.
out there.
I actually want Terry Rozier.
But it's not gonna happen, bro.
Why?
Danny loves Terry Rozier, and Terry Rozier loves Danny.
I think if Kyrie walks and the Celtics approach him,
Everything's
if,
good.
if they're not too salty about everything he said on ESPN, he's saying yes.
All right, so Terry Rozier.
he's saying
so,
Danny's
so
already
to,
said. Danny's
to, your,
already said, "Hey,
to your plan, to
I'm
Sean's
okay.
plan, that's gonna help Tatum develop. That's gonna help Tatum develop. Terry Rozier as the point guard.
yep,
Okay. All right.
yep,
Good luck with that.
yep." Better than fucking Mr.
Yeah, of course Sean believes that.
Degrading knees, Derrick Rose.
Yo, Sean's like the rest of Celtics Nation, man. He's so excited about the 2018 playoffs. Like that run was like the greatest run of all time. So, that run means that
But
everything's going to be
But it's so funny because
way
he
better
had
in
no,
2020.
He had no faith in that run whatsoever.
I didn't until
And
after.
every round.
I know.
See, no, you nailed it right there. Until after, just like the rest of Celtics Nation, after the fact, it was like, wait a minute. Oh man, that team could have won a championship.
Now,
they
time
just need another chance, Joel. That's all they did. Oh, all of a sudden,
Run it
they
back.
can guard Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yo, run it back, bro. Run it back.
Run it back. They can guard
right.
Giannis. They can go to the finals. They could beat the Warriors. Rozier, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum, championship caliber squad. Absolutely, it's happening.
Your sarcasm.
Maybe they'll go back to back. Right?
Your sarcasm is so fucking awesome.
Because
we're laying it on pretty thick, bro.
I'm gonna put it this way. That team does better than this fucking team this year.
No chance, bro. They lose against the Milwaukee Bucks.
No, they don't lose against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Matter of fact, they may lose against the Indiana Pacers.
They lose against the fucking Raptors.
Especially if Oladipo's in the picture.
They lose against the Raptors because they wouldn't be the fucking 4 seed. They'd have a much better regular season.
They would have a higher seed than 4. You don't believe that?
Yes, I do.
That
100%.
team would have a better seed than what we saw. The 4, they would be what, 3 or 2 seed? Get out of here.
They'd be a 3 seed.
They wouldn't even have home court advantage against the Pacers. They probably would have lost. Get out of here. You kidding me? What?
But they'll be fun to watch, bro.
Yeah.
They'll be fun to watch.
What the fuck?
They'll be fun to watch.
No, the Eastern Conference is completely different compared to a year ago, man. I don't even want to get into it.
You're being irrational.
So how far is that team going to go?
They would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
No, they wouldn't have, man. How would that team guard Giannis Antetokounmpo? Explain that to me.
Oh, I don't know.
Robert Williams would be your starting center somehow?
How did they do it the year before?
Because they weren't the same team, for starters. What? And Giannis didn't have an MVP caliber season the way he did this year. According to you, he's the best player in the NBA. So how would they get past him?
Well,
second.
Well, yeah, see. That particular week we were talking about him, yeah, he was. And then it changes. It
goes back and forth between Kawhi and Giannis. I don't have like 5 players.
Yeah,
it's 2 players.
No. It changes all the time.
What else you got?
Yeah, no. That's it.
That's it. I was thinking that might be it.
As always, all
right.
Hit us up on all social media platforms at Causeway Street and CausewayStreet.com for all your latest Celtics rumors, news, and opinions.
Yeah, so I'm not cool with you just doing what you just did, man.
What do you mean?
I'm not cool with this.
I've been saying that for weeks.
I'm pretty pissed off.
No,
you've never said it like that.
Hold on. By the way, is this a new thing where we just get you mad at the end of the episodes now? I'm loving it. This is the case.
It's 2 for 2 right now.
It's not, man. I'm sure.
2 for 2.
I'm cool.
Yo, you been picking up any guys lately?
No. Smash you in the face.
All right, let's do this. You know what? Yo, big shout out to the guy who hacked my account.
Oh.
And Jack damn near $300 out of my account. You know what? Yo, I hope all your dreams don't come true.
Did you take him
I
home?
hope you get
happened,
a venereal disease of some sort that's not curable.
Jesus.
And I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and only you. All right? Because
it's aggressive. So
this guy done snagged damn near $300 out of my account. 3 different purchases that added up to damn near $300. So shout out to that dude.
What's your bank doing about it?
I mean, they're gonna refund me, but that's beyond the point.
All right,
you know what?
But
it's a
the
hassle,
guy
bro.
still wins, bro.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I gotta cancel my debit card.
You
the guy gets his money.
7 to 10 business days to receive that bitch.
Pretty much, what you're doing is you're doubling up on what he jacked from me, and the guy still walks away with the dough that he jacked away from me. And you know this guy. I'm not the only one that he got. Right. So fuck his life.
I'm gonna say that the
fuck him.
Hope he fucking trips and falls and busts all his fucking teeth.
Yeah,
I think a lot of this is
and then someone pisses on you
because it was me and I bought us all new podcast equipment, man. So we're fucking good, bro. Causeway Street's making out the end of this bad boy.
Matter of fact, it was that week, and then we went out and you picked up that guy. So that's true.
Yeah. Throw your credit card that night, motherfucker. Oh yeah.
Is this because you were losing on all your betonline.ag?
I've lost it all. I'm desperate.
Your betonline.ag account is.
But listeners,
is
don't
in the negatives.
Don't be like Sean. Don't let that discourage you from how much money you can win. I mean, don't make the same mistake that Sean did.
I'm also not negative. I've made a lot of money.
Okay, cool.
It's very simple.
All right, cool.
CLNSmedia.com/Causeway. What you need to do.
Fuck yeah.
All right, we up out of here. Later, guys. Till next week.
About these pimps and these hoes, man. Yeah, I know a few. Shit. Bitch.